A history of cinema. Imagine a world with no movies. That was life until some brilliant inventors changed everything in the late 1800s. In 1891, Thomas Edison from the United States made a device called the kinetoscope. It was like a tiny movie theater for one person. You would peek through a little hole and watch short, silent films, like a man dancing or a boxing match. People loved it. But there was something even more exciting happening across the ocean. In France, two brothers named Auguste and Louis Lumière were working on something bigger. In 1895, they invented the cinématographe, a machine that could project moving pictures onto a large screen for an entire audience to watch together. Their first public showing included arrival of a train at La Ciotat station, which showed a real train coming toward the camera. People in the audience actually jumped out of their seats, thinking the train was about to crash into them. These films were only a few minutes long and silent. It was the birth of cinema. From then on, movies never stopped thrilling the world. Silent films became a worldwide hit in the early 1900s. Since there was no sound, actors used big facial expressions and dramatic movements to tell their stories. Any music or sound effects were played live in the theater by musicians. In 1902, Georges Méliès made a trip to the moon, where a rocket flies to the moon and lands directly on its eye. People were amazed by the special effects, and Méliès became one of the most famous silent film directors from France. At the same time, Hollywood was becoming the heart of the film industry. The Tramp was released in 1915, Charlie Chaplin's first famous appearance. Chaplin wore a bowler hat and waddled around, getting into all kinds of silly situations. His performances, full of humor and heart, made audiences laugh, without a single word. The Tramp became Chaplin's most famous film, and he was adored by audiences across the globe. Silent films were not only made in Hollywood. Japan, Germany, Russia, and other countries were also creating their own amazing films. By the end of the 1920s, silent films had become a worldwide sensation, entertaining people everywhere. On October 6, 1927, the movie world was forever changed with the release of The Jazz Singer. This was the first big movie where audiences could actually hear the actors talk and sing. The star of the movie was Al Jolson. When Jolson said, "You ain't heard nothin' yet," right there on the screen, people in the audience were blown away. For the first time, movies felt more alive and real. This game-changing moment marked the beginning of the talkies and the end of silent films. Suddenly, movies could have full conversations, fun songs, and characters who could share their feelings out loud. Directors could now use sound to make their stories even more fun and dramatic. Audiences loved it, and musical movies, like The Broadway Melody and 42nd Street, became super popular. The huge success of The Jazz Singer showed everyone that sound was the future of movies. This exciting new way to tell stories on the big screen was here to stay. Sound brought characters to life in a way that images alone could not, and audiences could not get enough. In the 1930s and 1940s, Hollywood became the most exciting place for making movies. This was the time when studios like MGM and Warner Brothers made some of the most iconic films in cinematic history. One movie from this time is Gone with the Wind, a colorful story about the American Civil War. It starred Clark Gable as the charming character Rhett Butler and Vivien Leigh as Scarlett O'Hara. People loved the huge sets, beautiful costumes, and dramatic story, making it one of the most popular movies ever made. Another movie everyone loved from this time is The Wizard of Oz. Audiences were amazed by Dorothy's journey to the magical land of Oz. Judy Garland, who played Dorothy, became famous for singing Over the Rainbow, a song people still love today. The movie's use of Technicolor, bright colors, and special effects wowed everyone. This was also when movie stars became super famous. Actors like Judy Garland and Clark Gable were adored by fans everywhere. The golden age of Hollywood was full of adventure, magic, and unforgettable movies that still inspire people today. In 1937, Walt Disney made history with Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, the first ever full-length animated movie. Before this, cartoons were just short, funny clips, but Disney believed animation could tell bigger, more emotional stories. Snow White followed a kind princess, seven dwarfs, and a wicked queen, and it had all the adventure and heart of any live-action movie. What made Snow White special was how it was created. Every character was hand-drawn, with each scene carefully painted by artists. This technique, called cell animation, made it look like the characters were alive right on the screen for the first time. Even though it came out during the Great Depression, Snow White became a massive hit, earning millions of dollars. People were amazed by the vibrant animation and catchy songs like Hi-Ho. Both kids and adults were completely swept away by its magical story. The success of Snow White proved Disney's vision was right. Soon after, he released more full-length animated movies, like Pinocchio and Bambi, filled with unforgettable characters. Thanks to Walt Disney, animated characters could be stars, too. Other countries were creating amazing films, too. In Japan, for example, director Akira Kurosawa made Seven Samurai in 1954. This exciting film about a group of samurai protecting a village was full of adventure and bravery. It became a global hit and even inspired future movies, like The Magnificent Seven. Kurosawa's storytelling showed the world that big action movies could come from anywhere. In India, Bollywood was gaining popularity with its big dance numbers, catchy songs, and strong family values. Mother India, one of Bollywood's most famous films, told a story of courage and sacrifice. Bollywood films were not only fun to watch, but also helped make India a huge force in global cinema. In Italy, directors were making neo-realist films that showed what life was really like for many people after World War II. One famous example is Bicycle Thieves, which told the sad but hopeful story of a father and son searching for a stolen bicycle. Film directors around the world were creating unforgettable stories that shaped how movies are made today. In the 1970s, the world of cinema changed in a big way with the birth of huge, exciting movies called blockbusters. Jaws, directed by Steven Spielberg, was about a giant shark attacking a beach town. It was one of the first movies to use television advertisements to get people excited before it even came out. When it hit theaters, everyone rushed to see it, and Jaws became the first movie to make over $100 million. Its thrilling scenes had people on the edge of their seats, and it made summer the perfect time for big, exciting movies. Then came Star Wars, directed by George Lucas. This epic space adventure was unlike anything people had seen before. It introduced lightsabers, spaceships, and unforgettable characters like Luke Skywalker, Princess Leia, and Darth Vader. With amazing special effects for its time, people watched Star Wars again and again. Star Wars became a whole world of toys, games, and collectibles. Both Jaws and Star Wars showed that movies could be massive events that everyone wanted to see, changing how films were made and shared with audiences forever. Movies became even cooler in the 1980s and 1990s, with amazing new special effects that made the impossible look real. During that time, directors used more than just computers. They used robots, mini models, and other cool tricks to create jaw-dropping effects. One of the biggest moments in movie history came in 1993 with Jurassic Park, directed by Steven Spielberg. The film brought dinosaurs to life using a mix of computer-generated imagery, CGI, and life-sized animatronic models. For the first time, people saw gigantic, roaring dinosaurs that looked like they could step right off the screen. The T-Rex and Velociraptors looked so real that audiences could not believe their eyes. The Matrix wowed audiences with its futuristic world where humans fight robots. The movie had an awesome slow-motion effect called bullet time, where characters could dodge bullets like superheroes. This was done by using lots of cameras at once to capture the action from different angles. People were blown away. Film directors could now let their imaginations run wild, bringing anything they dreamed of to life, just like writers on paper. In 2013, Mexican director Alfonso Cuarón made Gravity, an intense space adventure about an astronaut stranded after a terrible accident. The movie's special effects were so realistic that people felt like they were floating in space. Gravity won 7 Oscars, including Best Director, for its use of cutting-edge technology to tell a thrilling story. In 2017, Mexican director Guillermo del Toro created The Shape of Water, a magical love story between a woman and a sea creature. Despite their differences, the characters formed a special bond. The movie felt like a fairy tale with a powerful message about accepting others, no matter how different they are. The Shape of Water won the Oscar for Best Picture because it was creative, beautiful, and emotional. In 2020, South Korean director Bong Joon-ho's Parasite became the first non-English film to win the Oscar for Best Picture. The movie told a surprising story about a rich family and a poor family and made people think about social differences. Parasite showed that great stories can be loved by everyone, no matter the language. By the 2000s, movies from outside the United States became super popular worldwide. The internet and streaming services changed the way movies were made and watched forever. Netflix started as a company that mailed DVDs to people. In 2007, though, it launched its streaming service, which allowed people to watch movies and shows online. In 2013, Netflix had one of its first big hits with House of Cards, showing that streaming platforms could create their own shows. Soon, other companies like Amazon Prime and Disney Plus started their own streaming services. Now, instead of going to the theater, people could watch movies from all over the world right at home, whenever they wanted. Streaming changed how movies were made. Film directors now use digital cameras and computers to create movies, making it easier and cheaper to make films. These movies can be shared instantly online for everyone to watch. A great example is Roma, directed by Alfonso Cuarón. It was released on Netflix and nominated for 10 Oscars, showing that streaming movies could be just as significant as those released in theaters. Thanks to streaming, movies are now more global and easier to watch than ever before.